and how they want their generation they cannot sit waiting for the adults to take charge of this matter anymore. So I think this is also a very big issue that all of us need to recognize. So then going on to the public diplomacy aspects of science diplomacy and so the interactions with media, the Mangalyaan mission was successfully launched, and China, Japan didn't do it, and India was the first Asian country to do it. And my ambassador authorized me to go ahead and talk to the press about this particular thing, and Germany was very, very happy that India did it first. And I also circulated in the mission the official guidelines of Government of India regarding how to use social media and what accounts and how exactly you should use it officially. So the propriety part, I made it to them. I also circulated while at the mission, end of life of Windows XP came about, and many of the systems in the mission were using XP. I told them, no, please put a stop to it. We need to transition. Otherwise, this is a very sensitive area and we cannot have such systems working. So Ambassador again gave me the mandate to talk to everyone about this. Then we come regarding the selection and deployment of science counselors for posts abroad. When our selection procedure was a 2-day process. We had a group discussion followed by the presentation from 1 out of 8 topics. And I chose if I were science counselor for Africa. So that was my presentation. And I immediately told them that how Africa is critical and it is the next emerging market for the whole world. And I told, so all of them were very appreciative of the fact, and they said that yes, China is just going and taking away the resources, but we need to have the first generation of Africans were educated in British universities. We should see that the next generation is educated in Indian institutions. That was the feedback that I got. Regarding pre-deployment training and orientation of science counselors, we 3 of us, myself, Dr. Shivaji and Dr. Ramaswamy Bansal, we did visit all science agencies, Department of Atomic Energy, Department of Space, Principal Scientific Advisor to PM, and all the other places. For 1 whole month we were coordinating and doing it. But I think that a stint for the potential science counselors at the Foreign Services Institute would be also very helpful in this regard. And regarding the post-assignment role of science counselors after their return to India and using their experience, parent organizations, while deputing the science counselors, must think as to how to use their science diplomacy skills later for growth of that particular agency. So I think this is something which is like hardly any thought has gone into it. Many of us are doing science per se after we have gone back. Like I am back to science, but I am doing, of course, this December an international symposium with RIS as the partner, advances in coastal research with special reference to Indo-Pacific. So that's scheduled for December 17 to 19 in Chennai this year. Then we come to regarding training in science diplomacy for IFS officers to work as science counselors in certain countries where there is no science counselor. I think it's good for whomsoever is being envisaged for this role to do a science specialization course at either a IIT or Indian Institute of Science, so that they get to be acquainted and totally imbibe the logical thinking and analytical deductive skills which are essential for a science counselor to perform his job. So also I think training programs, Madam Relia already mentioned regarding ITEC, which is a standout collaboration with all the countries in the developing countries, and it's a great initiative. And finally, regarding coordination, I think we can do a lot more regarding coordinating between science departments, and I think DST must take that challenge and should make a permanent mechanism, like we have the state S&T council meetings. Why don't we think of some science ministerial meetings on a regular basis, at least once every 6 months between science ministries, where whatever is important for each ministry can be deliberated and taken up further. Otherwise, we are still working in silos, and everyone tells that marine biodiversity is environment and forest. Biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction is Ministry of Earth Sciences. So We need to think about all these things and how we need to strategize and take forward the country's interests in areas like climate change negotiations, like marine biodiversity, and so many other areas. So, regarding coordination of activities and plans with MEA, here, like we had this kind of interaction with science ministries before going to the mission. I think the ambassadors' insights and priorities in science, technology, innovation, higher education is also crucial for the science counselors to know that okay, this is what is on his list, shopping list, number 1, number 2, number 3, and we need to be clearly focused on delivering that. Regarding country and regional strategic planning for S&T cooperation, I think like Madam Ria mentioned, we need to look at it carefully, be it ASEAN, be it the Quad grouping or whatever. We should look at what actually India wants out of this equation, and then need to accordingly position ourselves. And next point is regarding implementation. Like I already mentioned, it is very important that it is not just worth signing the paper on which it is signed, but we need to take things forward. And yes, of course, for all this needs money, and especially like I mentioned, a good team. So you need technical support for the science counselors to do their job efficiently. Thank you so much.